I just finished building this guitar out of a bed frame that I found on the side of the road. And I think I have enough left over from that bed frame that I can make an electric guitar that matches. So for my neck, the leftover piece of mahogany that I have is not wide enough to cover the edges of the headstock. So I'm gonna cut this piece in half and slap them on the side. So I can take these pieces and cut them in half, glue them together, and then draw a guitar on that. The thing about these two pieces is that they're not quite thick enough. I'm looking for about 1 3/4 inches, and we're really like 1/8 of an inch short, which is probably about 27 centimeters, something like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these two leftover legs, and I'm gonna try to cut some 1/8 inch strips out of each one of them, and then glue those together in another panel, and then sandwich that between these two to give us our extra thickness. Okay, now I'm going to use this template and a router to cut this out to the exact shape that I want. Then I will glue the other layers on and then router to the shape that I cut the first layer into. And then we'll have a perfect shape. I would like to bind this guitar body in these maple strips that I cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray them with this spray bottle, and I'm gonna heat this curling iron up and try to bend these to the shape of this guitar body. I'm not sure if it's gonna work because I have some pretty tight curves to go around, but I'm gonna see what I can do. Okay, I'm bending this binding and I'm finding that this curve is all right. I can kind of make that work. It's not easy, but this curve is breaking every time. I get the binding close and then it's gonna snap right here. And so I'm thinking about cutting that curve out by just taking this line off. It might be a terrible idea. This piece of mahogany is about 20 inches long, which isn't long enough for a neck, but it is long enough for a fretboard. I used a template to make little marks on the side of my fretboard where the frets need to be. Now I just need to line them up and cut them. I'm gonna try to cut the headstock down because it needs to be about a ½ inch thick instead of an inch thick. So I'm gonna ride it along the table saw and cut as much as I can, but I don't want to go too far. So I'm gonna mark where the saw blade is so I can know where to stop. I took out most of the waste with a drill bit, but now I'm going to use a flush trim bit in my router to clear out the neck pocket. made this little mahogany pickup ring out of some scraps since I'm not using a pick guard. I'm honestly not very good at this wiring part. I have to look up a diagram every single time. I don't think there's supposed to be so much smoke.